What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of A's Adda. I'm A, obviously, and Adda basically means informal conversation. So that's how we got here. Look, I'm doing a solo episode today, mainly because I thought a lot of you don't know kind of too much about me. So I've kind of made like a little personal kind of space for myself to just talk about kind of not everything about me because I can't give it all away, but kind of just a bit more of an introduction about myself and a couple of the questions you guys asked. Obviously, I put on Instagram, like ask kind of any questions or topics you want me to kind of relay my opinions on. So I guess today is just about doing that and like trying to, give you guys food for thought. I guess I wanted to start off with the intro questions for myself. I'm 19. I was born in North Manchester, and I'm not in university or college. I'm actually on a gap year right now. I guess you could say it's come to an end because we are like in mid-June. So yeah, pretty much at the end of it now because it's pretty much summertime for everybody. But I do part-time work. I study like on my ones, like doing what I have interest in. And I guess I also have my own show. So yeah, that's kind of the intro, kind of like the basic introduction to myself. I didn't want to do like a Love Island kind of based kind of like introduction because that's not me. So those are my intro questions. That's me. Let me get into kind of the more questions that you guys have asked. So one of them, a few of you asked me already. I've kind of told people privately, but not like exclusively. I'd say the biggest question I've gotten is, why start the show? What's your motivation? And that kind of thing. I think the best way to articulate why I've started the show is as simple as because I wanted to. I can't really put it like any other way different than that. I think the main reason really I started is because I've always enjoyed like conversation, whether it's being part of it, whether it's kind of spectating it as well. Like obviously people can watch podcasts that you're doing right now, whether it's, or listen to them obviously via Spotify and other kind of, outlets that provide that kind of service. But I've always enjoyed conversation, like sparking it, being part of it, and like learning more about people, learning more about the different kind of perspectives that people have, which is the main reason, to be honest, that I've started the show. Like I think I've really started it for, I guess, entertainment, inspiration, and education, I'd say. Entertainment because I guess like why not just talk, I guess it is entertainment at the end of the day. Like I'm doing this to entertain people, to kind of stimulate their minds. Maybe you learn something new. Maybe you don't. Maybe you can relate to it on a kind of more emotional level based on some of the things that me or my guests, will say over the course of how many episodes that I end up doing. And really the show is just, to be honest, kind of a landmark for me. Like maybe my kids, inshallah I have them, will one day come back to this and be like, oh, when dad was 19, he was doing, ABCD. And this is what I call ABCD. All right, bet. That's why I started the show. Let's go into another question that you guys have asked me, and that is my background and how it's influenced me. So I grew up in, like I said, North Manchester. Single parent household. I mean, when it comes to background, I'm not really too sure on the kind of meaning of that question. I guess just a bit more about why I am who I am, how I am who I am. The area I grew up in is not rich, so I guess I have a lot of the qualities that someone from a non-rich area, or like not particularly, I was gonna say wealthy, but I guess just not as nice or as good as an area as other parts of the city that I'm in. So I'd say like I have some of the qualities that you'd expect from someone from an area like that, but I also went to a school that was full of people who, it was full of people who, had parents or lived in areas that were like quite wealthy, if that makes sense. So I have kind of both sides of the coin. My mom obviously was a massive example and a big part of my background. Like I said, single parent house. She's religious. She taught me like everything religion based really. Like I've been going to church for however many years I've been alive for. So like she's a big influence as to why I am who I am, if that makes sense. I think without her, I don't think I know, like definitely I wouldn't be the man I am today if she wasn't the one who raised me, if that makes sense. Or even if I had two parents, I don't think I'd be the person in front of this camera doing this, what I'm doing right now. And she's probably the biggest influence in my background, really. Like, there's obviously where you come from and your area and the people around you, your neighbors and whatnot. Obviously, big factor into who you are as a person. But I'd say my actual house and my home and my mum's religious example, my mum's kind of own personality. She's very kind, she's very generous, she's gentle. And all those qualities have kind of been instilled in me from when I was younger. I'm not as nice as she is, I can admit that. But I'm also more talkative than she is, so we have our differences and our similarities, I'd say. But yeah, when it comes to background, my mum's influenced me, my area where I come from, obviously going to school, meeting all different kinds of people. I couldn't begin to tell you how many people have had like a really positive influence on me as a person. And to be honest, I feel like I'm the kind of guy to let you know if you have. So if you know, then you know, as people, sometimes say. So yeah, I guess that's how my background's really influenced me. I can't really think of a better way to put it than how I've just put it there. Okay. Next question. I like this question. I was asked, how do you consistently keep a smile on your face? Now, I don't know if I've been smiling the whole time because I'm trying to not watch myself on the screen there, but I can feel that I've been quite happy. I feel like I'm in a good mood, so maybe I do have a consistent smile. How I do it, I honestly have no idea. I guess it kind of links back to my background and how it's influenced me, really, to be honest. I think, like I said, my mum's always been, I had a lot of positive qualities. And if they're instilled in me, then, I can't really differ too much from that positiveness that she gives off, that energy, that vibe that she has. So that's probably a reason. As for like me, myself, and like why I think I'm so able to maintain the kind of, consistent smile, I think I'm just quite grateful for what, where I am. I think a lot of people end up taking for granted the position that they're in. Obviously, everyone wants to, a lot of people have goals and aims to be wealthier, happier, better in shape. Insert goals here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people want to do different things in their life. And obviously, that's very, very understandable. Improving your life and quality of living should be, everyone's kind of, aspiration at some point in their lives, over the span of however long people normally live for, like, let's say 80, 90 years. So I do have those aspirations and goals, but I also think that I'm very grounded in terms of, like, I could not be here right now. I could not be this person talking to a camera, which is very high tech, by the way. Yeah, it's crazy. Talking to this camera, doing what I'm doing now, like, there's no reason for me not to be content with what I've been given. Like, I have a lot of gifts, like, honestly. I mean, in terms of, I think overall my personality is quite positive. I'm quite charismatic. I have a lot of good qualities that have been instilled in me through other people, through my experiences, through my kind of environments. And that's just something I can appreciate, because a lot of people, around the world or even in my own area, they may not be as understanding of, wow, I could really not be here. People are in a much worse position that I am, and are not, like, doing anything, like, not doing anything about it. Like, I fully think that gratitude it's one of my, like, reminders on my phone. Every day I set reminders. One of them is maintain gratitude. Every day I see that and I remember to myself, let me make sure I'm thankful. And I have a lot to be thankful for. I've got family, I've got good friends, I've got, like I said, the positive qualities that are just part of my personality that have been instilled in me. That's probably why I keep a consistent smile, to be honest. Like, there's nothing for me to complain about. And I still will complain because I'm not perfect. And obviously, no one watching this is going to be perfect. Apart from God, who's probably watching this somehow. But you know what I mean? Like, if you're not perfect, you should still be able to accept, what you have is a blessing. Every day is a blessing. It's cliche. People will be like, you couldn't have not woken up today. Be grateful. It's true. It's cliche, cringe. Some people word it a bit more cringely, but, like, it is genuinely true. And I think over time I've begun to realize that. Obviously, when you're younger, you don't really think about, oh wow, I have so many toys. Thank you. Wow, thank you. I'm really grateful about. I've been getting spoon fed from when I was 2 to when I was 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not really processing it then, but as you get older, I think it's key to really make a note in yourself and make it a crucial part of your personality to be thankful for what you have, and then you'll always be happy. Why wouldn't you be happy when you know you could be in a worse situation, when you could have a less good quality of living, when you could be anyone in the world who's in a worse off position than you are? It's key to maintain that level of gratitude, because you never know what can happen to you, and you never know. You never know really anything really. Like, you just gotta make sure that gratitude is key in your life, and that you're putting yourself first. I think is also key as well. But I think the way I do that is just by doing things I enjoy. Like, I see my friends, I see my family. I play, if you know me, I play a lot of basketball. I listen to rap. In general, like, I just do things that I enjoy, and that maintains my happiness as well. And whilst doing those things that I enjoy, I am also in turn grateful. And that's how I keep the award-winning smile. Yeah, I think, that's kind of a good way of putting it. Trying to limit the waffle here as well to as much as possible. But yeah, that is how I keep a consistent smile. And the person who asked me also said that it was very contagious. So I appreciate that. Hopefully it stays that way, and we can infect the entire world. Another person asked me about my gap year and how it benefited me. Good question. I've not really thought about that. With my gap year, I think that's a really good question. I mean, one of the key ways I think it's benefited me is just the way I've grown as a person. Now, it may not be noticeable to people who know me, because most aspects of my personality have not changed, especially if they're positive, of course. But I think my thought pattern has definitely adapted quite a lot from even like August last year. Obviously, that's when I finished A-levels, and now obviously we're in this part of life. My gap year has really just been full of people, I guess, like meeting people, reading books, regardless of whether they're like fiction or non-fiction. Maybe not fiction or non-fiction, I'd say factual or like kind of self-growth based, because I don't actually at this current moment read like fictional books. Something I'm going to get into though, I promise. So if any readers are out there trying to say, oh, shut up. Full of people, self-development, increasing my knowledge about things I have interest in. Really also just like random events and situations. Like, that's what my gap year has been consisting of. And obviously time and experience and being in certain situations is exactly what kind of makes you the person that you are. That's what I'm saying. I think I've really grown, because I couldn't really name. I'll keep it personal, but I can name a few situations, or I could name a few situations where I've kind of been shocked at how I've responded. So maybe I would have kind of been a bit more. Let's say somebody's been quite disrespectful to me for whatever reason. I know a year ago I would have taken it like, oh, let me go chat, gossip about this person negatively behind their back, do A, B, C, D, just be a kind of hateful person. But now I think I'm at a point where I'm just more like, if you're disrespectful to me, that's fine, that's your own problem. Like, if I've not done anything to deserve being, treated like that, then that's on you, it's not on me. People who are more, like bullies, what is it people say about bullies? Bullies are actually the ones who are insecure themselves, so don't let a bully really pick you apart about whatever you're insecure about. If someone's feeling the need to come and do something to you or like treat you badly, whether they know you or not, like, you just gotta kind of distance yourself from it and be understanding of the fact that it's got nothing to do with you. And I think that's something that really has benefited me in this gap year, knowing that a lot of things are not under my control. Someone else's personality is not under my control. Someone else's thought pattern is not under my control. I can try and adapt how people think. I can try and inform your opinion on something that I may be more knowledgeable about or have a different perspective on. But you can't change other people's core, natural, fundamental beliefs on things easily, at least. Anyway, you can't just say something to someone and be like, oh, cool. I believe you now. Forget what I was thinking. Like, it's not like that. And the gap year, like, that's been one aspect of the kind of growth that I've been, kind of the growth journey, let's say, that I've been on. I've also been, like I've said, the part-time work I was doing over the past gap year, I've had 2 different roles. One of them was in sales. One of them is retail now, and they are completely different ball games. Sales obviously taught me, well, how to sell, and like that's really beneficial, obviously, like because everything is a sales game, really. Like you sell your personality to somebody when you first meet them. You sell yourself when you're in the period of dating people. Like, well, maybe not sell yourself. You should know what I'm trying to say in terms of like you want to create that first impression or create a certain impression of yourself that sells the person on being like, oh yeah, I want to buy into this. Everything really is like a transaction when you think about it. I think the more you think about it like that, the more easily you'll be able to be bought into, let's say. Like when I was a bit, maybe like 2-3 years ago, I used to worry a lot about my first impression because a lot of people would tell me like, oh, you're quite loud, or you're very energetic. And a lot of people that I know haven't got the same kind of level of energy as I do when it comes to certain things. There's only really a few people that I know actually who can maintain the same energy that I have, which is just a kind of achievement in itself, really. But I used to be very cautious about how I articulated, whatever I was saying to people, how, the kind of vibe I was giving off, because, you don't want to be too much, but you want to, like, I was kind of looking to kind of dumb myself down so I could create a better first impression of myself. But now I'm just thinking, let me just act on how I'm feeling in the moment. If I feel energetic, I'll be energetic. Like, who gives a fuck about, what somebody else thinks? Like, if you're not harming anybody, what you're doing is fine. Like, I'm recording this and saying these kind of things. Like, if you take offense to it, that is not my problem. Like, I do not think I'm wrong in saying what I'm saying now or what I've been saying for the past 17 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I operate now. And before, I wasn't like that. So I think when it comes to also kind of sales and everything like that, that's something I've learned a lot more about purely in terms of the sale, what a sale means in itself. As the transaction, it's between a buyer and a seller. It doesn't need to be someone actually physically paying money for a product. Every kind of interaction, conversation, relationship, like it really just boils down to a sale in one kind of way. I think really in terms of how the gap year has benefited me, it's just really boosted my mindset. Clearly, like I've given a couple of examples just there about how my mindset's adapted over time. I think hopefully, well, not even hopefully, I'm going to make sure it happens, really. I'm going to try and keep elevating the mindset and make sure that it's, well, where it needs to be, really, or where I think I want to take it to. I want to make sure that I'm the kind of man that, my mum can be proud of, my family and my friends. People can be like, oh, right, you really made this stuff happen. Like, shout out to you, props to you, credit to you. Like, that's really kind of how it's been really good for me. And I'd recommend a gap year to anyone as well who's looking for kind of a more, well, to be fair, you can find personal development in anything, really, in university and apprenticeships, in traveling around the world. Like, you can find it there. But I think by taking a gap year, I've really learned a lot more about myself to the point that I can see where I was, see where I am, and see the trajectory that I want to take. Because nothing beats, like, for me at least anyway, nothing beats, like, being in a situation and realizing how you act differently now when you would have acted previously. And I think that's big, like, pat on the back for people who, have noticed how they've grown as people. Like, growing as a person is so key. You can never underestimate personal growth. You need to seek it out at every given opportunity. Because we only have this life, like, once, genuinely. That's what I'm talking about, gratitude as well, like, key part of personal growth. If you're not content and happy with what you have and always wanting more, you'll never be satisfied. That's what people think about, money. Infinite amount of money somebody can earn. There's no cap on what anybody can earn. Obviously, there's challenges to get, whether you're this kind of person, whatever, like, there's challenges to get to certain levels of money and everything like that. But they can be surpassed if you really put the effort in. Money is infinite. Life is very finite. And what's so important about how it is finite is that you don't know when it is going to end. So why not make yourself the best possible person that you can be in this, unknown amount of time that you have here on this planet? Like, that is so key to me. And I feel like a lot of people underestimate the importance of personal growth. If you're the same person you were a year ago, 2 years ago, like, you're not doing it right. Maybe a year ago is a bit short, but you're not doing it right. You need to be able to notice aspects of your personality that you've kind of cut off, that you didn't like, that were quite negative, and boost the ones that are positive. Everyone wants to be a good person. Well, I hope everyone wants to be a good person, really. So make yourself that kind of person, and good things will just gravitate towards you. Like, I end up really trying to delve into my own life a lot, with like journaling and that kind of thing, to really ensure that I'm growing to be the man that I want to be. And I'm nowhere near there yet. Like I said maybe a few minutes ago, I have my faults, I have my issues, but this gap year has really made me realize what those issues are, and I wouldn't have been able to act on what they were if I didn't take the time to get to know myself and aim to grow as a person, to grow as Amori Nixon, to grow as the guy I am now. That's the first time I said my name on camera. But that's why I think this gap year has really benefited me. Of course, there's the people aspects. Like, I've met a lot of good people. I guess shout out to everyone I met this year. Everyone's, a part of, your development. Always got to treat people as, as important. I heard like a lyric today that was like, treat the janitor, he's American, so treat the janitor like a boss, because you never know who's gonna be a part of you not taking a loss. And that's quite true. That's something I'll let you guys think about. I can get into that, but that's probably for a later kind of podcast topic and conversation. I think this gap here was a crazy decision to make. I could have gone to university. I had all the offers lined up. Maybe it was 4 offers, 4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5 offers. There were some apprenticeships, pardon my grammar, that I was working on attaining for myself, because there's the ones I was applying for had like crazy amount of stages, like at least 6 stages per apprenticeship, I think. Yeah, about 6, maybe 5, 6. And then the later we got through the year, the more I realized I really want to take a gap year. And I think at the time I wasn't really sure why I was taking one, because I'm trying to think back to when I did take one. I don't think it was as calculated as I might be making it out to be. I don't think it was that calculated. But, I guess sometimes not having a plan isn't the worst of ideas, because, I'm here now, and I wouldn't be here without my gap year. I don't think I'd be the same if I went to uni. I don't think I'd be the same if I started working in an apprenticeship. I don't think I'd be the same if I did one of 100 other things. I think I'm grateful for every step that I've taken, on my way to, where I am right this second at, 3:40 p.m. on June 15th, 2022. I think I advise anyone who is who's unsure about the next step to take, I'd advise you to take a gap year and just try and be as productive with it as possible. Like, the first half of it, I was working, maybe like the first third, let's say. Yeah, we'll call it half. I was in the sales role, and I learned a lot about sales. I met some really good people. One of them you'll see on the show. 2 of them, you'll see on the show, for sure, at least anyway. And I've really learned a lot from just them, which I'm very grateful for, because if I didn't have the job, I wouldn't have learned about other aspects of life. I didn't just learn sales from them. I learned about life from them. I learned about religion from them. And they've really been a good catalyst for the way I think about faith. So that's one aspect, I guess, of where people have also helped me out in this gap year. And if I didn't take the gap year, I wouldn't have had that experience. And that experience is only going to grow and strengthen, and my relationships with them are only going to grow and strengthen. So that's honestly something that I'm grateful for that's happened this gap year. People need people. And if there's one thing, like, no one's really going to spend a gap year indoors for a whole year. You should aim to get out of your comfort zone and do things you wouldn't necessarily find yourself doing. Obviously, if you know me, you'd think, oh, of course I'm going to get into sales. These sales were not just normal, like, oh, hello, do you want to buy 18 bottles of whatever? Like, it's not like that. So it got me out of my comfort zone, even if people thought I wouldn't be able to have one. And it made me more confident. It made me, I don't think I'd be doing this if I didn't need the sales job. So the gap year's really benefited me in a lot of different ways. Some of them probably I can't even name right now. Maybe I'll look back in a few years and be like, wow, the gap year really helped me, do that. I'm really grateful for that. That's really changed who I am as a person. I wouldn't have had that experience if it wasn't for the gap year. So take one if you're unsure about your next steps post A-levels. Or even in general, I'm sure you could take a gap year in uni. I don't know much about uni. I'm actually currently in a uni building. But my uni knowledge is very limited. So if you can take one in uni, if you're unsure about the kind of path you've elected to take, just take time. Like, we have a finite amount of time, but you've got to use it as productively as possible. And that can mean it's okay to come out of uni. Like, I have a few friends who've dropped out or who are planning on leaving. Like, it's okay to do that, As long as you have a kind of outline for where you want to be at, never going to be an issue. You've got to focus on what matters to you. And I think the gap year really, it really mattered to me in terms of making this, all of this really like a reality. So yeah, bit of a long-winded explanation, but I feel like I wanted to get into detail about these questions. I wanted to kind of, obviously you learn, like I said before, like time and experience are the best educators. Nobody will ever teach you more than you can teach yourself by just living your life, doing things you do. Obviously, of course, getting out your comfort zone and doing new things that you can have new opinions about and having new experiences and forming opinions from. Nothing will ever beat that. So that's something I'm definitely kind of sure on maintaining. But yeah, that's how my gap year's benefited me. I think maybe after this video ends, I'll think of more. But as of right now, that's pretty much how it's benefited me. Next question. Okay, yeah. Somebody asked me what my epiphany of the year was. Oh, by the way, like, when I'm looking down and looking at the plans and questions, like, I don't have an answer planned out for any of this. This is all just me thinking on the spot. So, apologies if I'm not concise enough or whatever, but you're getting the most genuine answers out of me that I can possibly muster up. Anyway, back to my epiphany of the year. Crazy question. Shout out to the girl who asked me that question, because that question is crazy. And I tried not to think about it, even when I got asked, because, like I said, I want to give a genuine answer. If I do pick, I can't pick one. I think I've already named a few. I couldn't even tell you. The year's not even over, so epiphany of the year is crazy to ask. But, I mean, to be fair, I was having a conversation with, and he'll know who he is. We'll call him T for the purpose of this episode. He'll know who he is. I remember sitting with him at a basketball court, maybe like 2 months ago. We were talking for an hour and a half. And he was just dropping game. Like, I'm really appreciative. In case he doesn't know, I'm very appreciative for that conversation. I've got a whole like note on my phone that's called like principles to live by. And half of what he said is in the notes. So, in fact, let me open up these notes so I can kind of delve into maybe like 2 or 3 of the points that kind of that I can call epiphanies. Because I was thinking it, but he articulated it in a way that was like really, wow, okay, I think like that, and that's the best way of wording it. All right, cool. Yeah, he really kind of, I'm just really grateful for the conversation. So T, thank you. Yes, one definite epiphany that he had, that he said to me was, everything that I learn now is gonna build how I teach my family. Now, that is, for me, I mean, I guess it makes sense when you look at it from a outside perspective, but I never thought about life like that. I'd say I'm a long-term thinker, but I wasn't thinking that long-term. And when you think about, everything you're learning now, that informs your perspective and your opinion. Your own kids will develop their perspectives and opinions from yours. So what I was thinking was, I need to aim to learn as much as possible now, so my son/daughter, or both, I'm hoping for both, to be honest, so I can pass the information down onto them, and they can be the most informed, and they can obviously learn by themselves. I'm not going to remember every single piece of information about life and stats and like science. Like I'm never gonna remember all that. But I mean, just genuine like life knowledge, street smarts, whatever you want to call it. Like everything I'm learning now is gonna build how their childhood is really. Like that's probably one of my biggest epiphanies of the year. And although it's weird to say, I don't think I've ever said this. Like it's weird how I already care about a family that I don't have, because I'm not aiming to have children like right now. Like that's not really my prerogative. So maybe like 10, 12 years minimum. But like I care about how they're gonna be. So I'm aiming to learn everything now. But obviously it starts with myself first. I care about what I have to learn now. I care about boosting my own knowledge, my own kind of, like I've been talking about this probably for like the past half hour mainly somehow. Growth. I want to grow and become the best version of myself as possible, which should be everyone's. If you don't have any of the goals, just aim for that and you'll be A-okay. I promise. I promise. But in terms of my family, like, they're going to come at some point. Those of you who want families, those of you who even if it's not even a family as in your own children, like, you may have like younger siblings. Younger siblings or younger, wider family, wider relatives, or your husband or your wife. Like, obviously, husband and wife isn't necessarily a family. I don't know if you'd class that as a family. That's something for you all to debate. But everything you learn now is going to inform how you build that relationship. It's going to inform how you build, your perspectives on what they think, on what, you agree and disagree on. For your kids, it's the childhood. It's for your wider family who are younger than you. It's their lives as well, because as much as you might not realize that you absorb a lot of what people say, I'm sure there's like a metric that's like, not a metric, a statistic that's like, we can hear about over a couple hundred words per minute and look at a couple hundred, like, it's crazy. You absorb more than you realize. It's just in the subconscious, I think. Maybe I'll get proved wrong with science, but that's what I believe right now. So it makes sense to try and ensure that everything you're saying is like accurate, or at least to the best of your ability anyway. Because families are around the corner. Some people have families right now, like who are our age, or maybe if you're watching, you're a bit older, like you have a family right now. Aspire to learn as much as you can. Like another epiphany is like seek experience out, like whatever it may be. Take a risk. I'm saying this to myself as well, because like I've said twice or three times earlier, I'm not perfect. So when I'm giving these out to people, I don't want you to think that, I'm always got it patterned. He's speaking from a height. Nah, I'm just like you. We are all people. But I'm just trying to pass on information that's been given to me, that's been given to them by people who have really elevated themselves, who are at the top of their game, who understand more about life than I do, because I've only had 19 years. I could be talking to like anyone older than me. People even younger than me might have more experience in life than I do. They might have gone through a little bit more. So seek an experience out. Like, you just can't be closed-minded. Whether it's approaching the opposite sex or the same sex, or like whether it's, I don't know, starting a business, doing a medicine at uni, like that's a massive risk, because it's a crazy degree to have, and you're risking, I guess opportunity cost is an economic term. Basically means like, like you're basically risking the benefits of the second best thing you could have done, if that makes sense. So by, for example, taking medicine, you're missing out on a gap year of traveling and doing ABCD or whatever I did. Just, you gotta take risks. What is it? Take risks and prosper. Like, in the least cringe way, you should trap. You should definitely trap. Take risks and you will prosper. Like, that is literally how it works. Because I saw a Kobe video, RIP Kobe, of course, as well. Like, he talked about whether you do something and do it well or you don't do it well, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you should do it. Every L is a lesson. A win is great. Celebrate it for a sec and carry on. Do something else. Take it further. Or take the lesson and understand that something's not for you and delve into something different that you find interesting. or take the L, regain like your confidence and your belief, and keep pursuing it if you think it's for you. Like, giving up or not doing something is the worst thing you can do. And I'm saying that like I'm saying I'm not perfect. I've had numerous moments where I've not followed, Kobe's advice. But me saying it now is kind of a way of me manifesting the fact that I want to do it more and more, and telling you guys, like, do it. Do things out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like, seek experience out and don't regret it. I was talking to, obviously, Luigi about relationships, and, like, he said, we were talking about how we don't regret the kind of, being finessed and all that kind of thing by, like, different girls and whatever. Nothing too crazy, obviously. We're still cool people. But, like, we just can't regret those experiences. You may not have wanted them to happen in the moment, but when you look back, it's always long term, because your brain is wired to get satisfaction from things right now. If you eat 5 chocolate bars right now, you'll be like, oh, that's so nice, man. Oh, great. But in a few years, if you maintain something similar to that, you're not going to be healthy. Your life expectancy is going to decrease. Like, you're not going to be the same person. You're not going to be in shape. Like, or maybe you will be, but it won't be to the top condition that you could have been in if you didn't eat 5 dairy milks per day. You know what I mean? Obviously, random example, but the point still stands. It makes sense what I'm trying to say. Like, your brain is wired to have things now, but you just need to be able to think long term about kind of the family, about yourself as well. Of course, you're the most important person in your own life. Seek out experience. Don't regret anything, and always reflect on what you think is considered something that's gone wrong. Because there's always a lesson to be learned. And even reflect on things that have gone right. How could you have done it better? Oh, well, first of all, how did you do it? Why was it good? Positives. Then you bring in the criticism. How could I have done it better? What could I have done differently to improve that result? You know what I mean? Like, you've got to look for the positives and negatives and everything. Like, I've been asking so many people, like, give me your feedback. I want to make these videos as, intellectually stimulating, entertaining, inspirational, educational as possible, because I want to make quality content. That's my aim in the long term, to continue making quality content. Right now, I'm asking for feedback, positive and negative, to ensure that happens. Right now, I care about making it now, but I also care about making even better in the future. So it's like, I will get pleasure in the long term from knowing that I've asked everyone for their feedback, even if it hurts me or not. Oh, Maury, you waffle too much. Oh, Maury, you do A, B, C, D. Okay, found that. Okay, cool. Long term, Maury, you're concise. Maury, I love the points you made. Maury, I love this, I love that. Seeking out experience, seeking out wisdom, seeking out, things to learn from. Key. I don't even know where I've gone on a crazy tangent with this. But, yeah, Epiphanies of the year, sorry. Like, maybe I've just named like 5 or 6 that I can't even, regurgitate right now. But I'd say, like, there's not one Epiphany of the year that I've had. Let me try and regain the kind of trajectory I was on. There's not one Epiphany that I can name. It's a few. And, yeah, I think maybe one's not even enough, really. I can't really name one. The most important one. If I had to give like a quotable, it might be, let me look at this. Yeah, there's loads I could mention. I don't want to make this video over 3 hours. So I'm going to keep it a bit more concise, and I'll say, you're the most important person in your own life, and everything you learn now is going to build how you teach your family, or how your family grows up in their childhood. That's probably bad. If you want 2 quotables, have them. They're yours. And yeah, I think that kind of ends the kind of question aspect of it. People wanted to know my thoughts on things in terms of like, well, questions rather than not topics. But some topics were also thrown in. I couldn't get into every single one. I apologize. One of the topics was, has UK rap overtaken US rap? No. Jay-Z, Drake, Kanye, Kendrick. When you beat them in the UK, let me know. The topic I'm going to focus on, it's kind of 2 topics, and I'll speak on them for a few minutes. Someone asked me my point of view on the educational system, and if it helps you for later life, for real life or not. And someone asked me my views on a 9-to-5 job. They kind of link, so I'm going to make them work. I'd say educational system, By the way, I've not thought about this one either. Right now, does the educational system help you in later life, or help you prepare for later life? My first thought is no. You're not taught. See, this is the main thing. You're not taught, finance, personal finance, how to maintain your money. You're not really taught too much about uni and the experience and what you really should be doing. It's not really ironed into you, when you leave kind of, obviously I'll start off with like high school. Obviously university is part of the educational system as well, but when you leave high school, you're not really prepped for uni. You're moving out and it's all hectic. Like, I can't think of anyone who's told me they had a really, calm, casual, normal year. Obviously an enjoyable one, but that nothing was stressing them out to the max they could have avoided. A lot of problems are avoidable. And I don't think all the information is widely available when people are leaving high school to go into university for them to have a smooth transition. I think if you get a smooth transition, then that's great. Like, brilliant stuff. Creds, that's off to you. But a lot of people, it's kind of hectic. Like, you're moving in, like, one week you're in your house, another week you're in Guatemala, like, you're off, you're somewhere else, like, in a new city, a new place. I think when it comes to the university system as well, I can't really talk too much about that. Although I've got a few friends who went to university and kind of obviously, or near the end of their term, saying that they've learned so much from being in uni rather than being at uni. So in terms of that, I mean in terms of what I'm saying is the course and the facilities and whatever the university's own, what it can control, has not taught them as much as the experience of being out of their comfort zone and kind of meeting new people and going through more adult problems. Maybe someone's got a part-time job or a full-time job whilst maintaining uni. They're paying tax, for example. Uni isn't going to tell you about tax. I don't think, at least. High school didn't tell you about tax. Like, that's one thing to consider. Obviously, I don't know how much uni tells you how to manage the student loans you may or may not be getting. From what first thoughts, I'd say they don't really tell you too much, apart from the fact you've got to pay your rent on X date, which is just great, because everyone cares about, knowing when money has to be given up. Pardon me. But in terms of education, I mean, I wouldn't say it was flawed. I think being in it has helped me a lot for later life, because I've learned through being in it what later life really entails, if that makes sense, via the people I've met and the experiences I've had. So I'd say it kind of does, but I don't think it intends to, let's say, curriculum-wise. I don't think it intends to. Like, PSHE was about mental health, and there may be like 2 or 3 finance classes, and like sex and that kind of thing, like aspects of life that are quote unquote important. You get 45 minutes a week on that, and to be real, like if you did PSHE or PSME or whatever you call it, like how much did you really come away with, knowledge-wise? I don't think the educational system intends to educate you about later life, but I think it does. If you grab it and you really push through with it and try and extract as much information as you can out of it. That's my opinion on it. Really good question, though. That's really good question. Hopefully I've articulated it well enough, my opinion on, like, so you guys can understand and kind of... I like the idea of like having a debate about it, because I'd want to hear if some people disagree with me or not as well, or if they agree with different points. In terms of the views on my 9 to 5, I think the educational system prepares you with the knowledge of a 9 to 5 being life. Then again, I can't really remember a lot of points where 9 to 5 life was mentioned and glorified. But university, the traditional route, I'm not American. Traditional route, is uni, job, family. Family has family, die. Well, hopefully you get to see your grandkids. But, you know what I mean? That's the obviously traditional route. So, I think a 9 to 5 is great, really. And I feel like I can't really... It's a pretty short answer. I think it's great for you if you enjoy it. Me personally, I don't see myself working a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, subject to change. Obviously, if I find a field that I'm really engaged with and love working in from 9 to 5 every weekday. But as of right now, if you're asking me, I don't particularly want to do that. I think, for me at least, or people who are kind of entrepreneurial, have entrepreneurial, what would you call it, mindsets and mentalities, a 9 to 5 is what you use to get out of your 9 to 5. So you invest checks, or you start up a side business, or you do whatever. Easier said than done, of course. For example, I love the stock market. I love stocks. I love blue chip companies. I love mid-sized companies. Small cap, mid cap. I'm ever probably just speaking very technical, but right now I haven't got capital to be busting out a few hundred in each stock. So I want to use my part-time work to build that up so I can start investing in the way I want to. Obviously, in the meantime, like I said, I'm studying the stock market and how to invest and chart analysis and fundamental analysis, technical analysis. Again, might just be terms that kind of go over your head. Maybe I'm just flexing my knowledge a little bit. But when it comes to people who maybe don't have a passion for a certain specific 9 to 5 job, if you don't want to be a police officer, if that's even 9 to 5, if you don't want to be a doctor, if you don't want to be a lawyer, so the ones I've just mentioned sometimes aren't even 9 to 5. Sometimes they can be 8 to 8 because of workload and seriousness and severity of the job. But, traditional office work, let's say, if it's not for you, don't do it. Don't conform to what society inadvertently tells you to do. Because, like I said, I don't really remember being told, get a 9 to 5. Do a 9 to 5, it'll be great. Oh my God, I love sitting in an office like this, typing all day. I don't think I've ever been told that, but that's just what everyone does. Well, I say majority of people before I too inclusive. So like I'm saying, a 9 to 5 is great if you found the niche role you want to work in. For me and a lot of people that I'm friends with, a 9 to 5 isn't the one. It's the same with uni, really. I think, don't do a degree you only have a mild passion for. Obviously, you don't know your passion until you experience different kind of aspects of things you can do. Obviously, I wouldn't know that I loved science if I only did art and drama and maths. I have to try science to get into, I love science. Forget all that. I'm going to pursue science. So, same thing with university, same thing with 9 to 5. Do things that you have enjoyment and passion for, because it makes it easier and it makes you more productive and it makes your life feel like it's less of just autopilot. I've got to wake up at 7 and go to work by 9. If I don't, my boss will kill me. Or finish at 5, come home, feed the kids, watch a film, my wife, go to bed. That's not a life, really, that I hope anyone is aspiring to. Unless you have good little bits sprinkled, with the things I just mentioned, different stages of someone's day. But as long as you're passionate about what you want to do, feel free. You can be passionate about flipping the plastic advertising on plastic bottles across the Volvic bottle. You know what I mean? I'm only saying that because I got a Volvic right there. But if you're passionate about that, do it. If you really love it, do it. You can make yourself have a happy 9 to 5 life, if possible, from doing that. I can't knock anyone who's doing what they have passion for and monetizing it. That's the best thing about it. If you can monetize what you're passionate for, that is the win-win. And I think if your 9 to 5 lets you do that, do it. If there's no 9 to 5 currently you can think of that allows you to pursue your passion in the way you want to do it, then you don't have to do it. Plenty of people are successful through not doing a 9 to 5. And it's easier said than done. Everything I've said today is easier said than done. But if you put in the right practices, which maybe is for a later video, then you'll always be okay. Always be grateful. Always make small steps on a day-to-day basis. My friend, I'm going to call him AB, 1% better a day. He made it up. I just stole it. It's one of my reminders on my phone. 1% better a day. In a year, you're clear. You're way better. And I think when I talk about this gap year, how has it benefited me? Kind of going back a little bit, that is what it is. I think I've every day become 1% better by getting one kind of baby step closer to where I want to be. And if that's not what you're aiming for in life, kind of rethink what you're doing and if it's in line with the identity that you wish to possess in future. Because that's all I think about. Is what I'm doing now going to benefit my future? It might not benefit me right now in my mind, like I said about instant gratification, okay, cool, that really helped me, success, cool. But if it's going to help in the long term, chances are it's something you really should be doing and considering doing. So yeah, I think if I check, that's covered all of it. Yeah, I don't really say about this one. This one was quite a different video. I wanted to keep it under an hour because it's just my voice. I want to make sure you guys don't get bored, even though I can't lie, kind of went a bit more interesting than I anticipated. But yeah, this video is a bit different. Kind of, I guess, let me know what you think about this one. Yeah, quite personal. I can't lie, I was a bit more nervous about this one. I'll be very, very honest. It's just me in a yellow tee, chilling in a studio with one camera, trying to not look at the screen that I'm on. Feel myself in the, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure it was, at least good content-wise. And yeah, let me know what you thought about this one. Different vibe. I might make it a series if people are fans of it. If, like I said, you feel educated or inspired or you want to debate about it offline, that's fine. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think. Because like I said, quality content is my only prerogative when it comes to making this show. And really just making something that, people are going to be, interested in keeping up with and enjoying. On that note, thank you for tuning in, guys. I've got no guests to thank apart from myself, so thank you, Maury. Well done. I will see you guys on the next episode, whenever that comes out. All love. Thanks again for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. The YouTubers, I got to be like one of them to be more professional. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow on Spotify. We are there. Link is probably going to be in the description. And yeah, listen, have a great day. Peace and love. Au revoir.